Hi, me again. And with my stacks of paintings. How many of you artists out there have stacks of paintings? I mean, it's good when we sell them. Thank God for that. Sometimes we can actually, you know, buy groceries and, you know. Well, I want to talk to you about those paintings that just don't seem to wow us or excite us. And so they end up in the piles. Look, I could go through stacks of paintings that I have in my piles, and in the cupboard behind me there's lots more. And well, that's kind of an artist thing, you know. We are our own worst critic. And well, if you're not one of those kind of self-critics, well, chances are you're a pretty confident person. You know, artists never need to be told anything about their art because they all know a how good it is, or on the other end of the spectrum, how crappy it is. You know, well, I think I probably fall somewhere on the middle of that spectrum because I like a lot of my work and some of my work not so much. And so it ends up just kind of piled up like this and in cupboards like that. And I've got a storage room that's like stacked high of the big ones, you know. They're not on top of each other. They're kind of like stacked in. Well, anyway, you get the point. We artists, we beat up on ourselves. But I like to have those stacks around because I like to flip through those stacks. And occasionally, I like to take one out, like this one here, for example. I've been looking at this for over a year. I painted this little scene along the side of a road. It was in northern Ontario. I have just coming back from Wawa. That's a real place in case you're not from Canada. It's a beautiful place and it's on the north shore of Lake Superior. It's one of my favorite painting locations. But to get there, you got to go up along Manitoulin Island on the Georgian Bay, and along that road, there's a few great little spots, and the place where I found this was one of them. It's a little shed here, and it was a kind of an abandoned shed, and there's like trees around it. You know, it's just this typical little painting, but it's a little bit boring. So I'm gonna work it a little bit, and I'm gonna do that with you here. And so let's do that right now, okay? And let's see how it turns out. First of all, I think I'm gonna scoop out a little bit of olive green here and mix it with some titanium white. I mean, the painting is dark enough as it is, so I'm going to bring in a little bit more color. And you may notice here I've got a pretty gnarly old brush. I mean, there's just nothing better for doing old trees in the forest than a gnarly old brush. And the older and the more gnarly, the better. The painting is really in its foundations and it has a voice already, but I don't want to leave it there. As we said, it's sat with me for a long time and it's been quite dark. So I just want to enhance it a little bit, but I don't need to paint the whole painting and I don't need to wipe out what was already there. As they say, the bones are good. We're happy with that. No, I just want to create a little more character, a little more for the eye to kind of soak in.
I think when people look at paintings, they make up their mind pretty quickly what it's about and whether it appeals to them. But the paintings that make them stick around and absorb it more, think about it more, well, I like that. And that's what I want this one to be, because when I was driving along and stopped and walked into the woods a little bit, it was the same kind of an experience. I just happened upon this old abandoned shed, and I liked it, and it spoke to me. The rusty colors just sung out from amongst the greens of the forest. I was I was very intrigued, and that's how this painting called to me. It's taken a year to get to it and to bring in the finishing touches, but that's all right. That's the way it goes sometimes. And if that's what it takes, well, I'm just going to drop a little Azo orange and vermilion mixed with a little titanium white into that shed, and it's going to make it glow a little bit more than it did already, so that it really kind of completes the tale of that intrigue and that compelling drawing. Come closer kind of a vibe. And I'll just spread some of that color out into the forward trees, the foreground trees. Not overwhelmingly so. I don't want to confuse things. The star of the show is that shed. No, I just want to harmonize the colors. I want the painting to have the same hints of color scattered around in the rocks, in the trees, but not too much. Just enough to complete the four parts of the choir. If you're in a choir, you know what I mean. It's the harmony that all works together to make it just sound, look, feel beautiful. You can almost smell the pine trees, and you can almost feel the dampness. And there it is. Listen, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like and subscribe. We'll get you next time right here on The Robert Painter on YouTube.